Welcome to Real Estate Investing for Professional Men and Women, the podcast that guides professionals to financial prosperity. Join our community and let's start building your wealth. Here's your host, Gary Wilson.
Hello, everyone, and once again, welcome to Real Estate Investing for Professional Men and Women all over the U.S. and Canada. And most of us, of course, are professionals in our own fields, whether it be engineering, one of the 452 fields of engineering, that is, chiropractic, dental, people who own their own business, you own your own practice. Welcome aboard. You found a safe home when it comes to investing in real estate. So what we're about is this. We're all about the fundamentals, applying sound strategies to invest in real estate. So this is not the no money down owner financing, Hail Mary pass type investing. That stuff all has its place. Okay, it works, it has its place. But this is for people who actually look at investing as more of a business. You're business minded. You understand the principle of having skin in the game. And as a result, generally, you're building a more solid portfolio of growing equity and cash flow. So that's really what this is all about. I will tell you, if you do have your own practice or you own your own business, and our guest today, by the way, Tuan Pham owns his own business, you can actually get a business loan against that business and use those proceeds to finance a purchase of an income-producing asset, i.e. real estate. Now, I suggest you do it through a separate LLC. You separate your investment assets from your business LLCs, okay? And when you do it that way, you can loan money back and forth. It's not only legal, it's legitimate and a good sound business strategy when you do it correctly and conservatively. So in any case, that's what we're all about. Well, we do advocate actually caring about the communities we invest in. So as we succeed in the community benefits. As the community succeeds, we benefit. So it's a natural phenomenon. And it's not theory, it's actually in practice. If you look at all the best successful investments, they all involve these character traits, okay? So without further ado, though, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Tuan Pham. He and I met several years ago through a mastermind group. I'm a big proponent of masterminds. And hit it off right off the bat. And I went to visit him in Vegas a few years back and spoke at a local event. And we've maintained contact. So I wanted to bring him on here because Tuan comes from a different field. But basically, it's not just financial planning. He's really creative in what he does, has been very successful, and has an awesome life story that I hope he will willing to share. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Tuan. And Tuan, instead of me telling people about you, how about if you just tell them about yourself, just who are you? For people who don't know you, who is Tuan?
Well, good morning. Thank you so much for bringing me in, Gary. I appreciate it very much. Well, just a little bit of the background about myself. I am a Vietnamese who came to this country back in 1977 as a refugee, Vietnamese refugees. And one of the things that I learned here is that now I found freedom, but one of the things that I'm trying to figure it out is that the financial freedom part of it, because coming from Vietnam, I was brought up in a very fine families, which has almost everything. Because as you know, Vietnam has two types of people. One is very, very poor, and the other spectrum is a well-to-do family. So came to this country without knowing what's going on. And I have to do all kind of different things in order to survive in this country. And one of the things that I want to learn is that now I found freedom, but what about financial? So financial freedom is one of the things that I really wanted to find out. And it took me about 5-6 years to went through college. And then even that, with the degree in management, I couldn't find a decent job. So I took another 2 years to get my MBA. So even with that, I'm still not finding ways to. It took me another few years, and luckily that I found one of my mentor, and he said that this is in this country you have to do two things. One is to learn how money works, and the other thing is find the opportunity to do it. So I get into the financial field just by mistake. Mm-hmm. But then I learned that throughout the history, the people who actually doing well in this country, that they don't own anything. They actually using what they call OPM, or the people monies, and then using it to make more money for them. Uh, and then I also learned that money have to be have the velocity, meaning that if you have money and you put it into one place, it's not going to grow any money to anymore for you. So you have to use it like the bank. If they taking the deposit and they using your deposit that you put it in and they lending it out, they give you right now at the moment is probably 1%, and then they turn around and giving out to people who using the credit card and they charge 21%. So the difference between 1% and 21% is the margin. That's the profit. So that's one of the things. And I started back in 1983. After 30 something years, I learned and define that what would we do in order to help my clients. As a financial advisor since 1983, I have so many different clientele from different walks of life, from the people who doesn't have any money. I help them how to take care of themselves by just giving them a financial literacy that, from how to make sure that, you balance your checkbook, how your income coming in, and don't overspend what you earn. And in between, there is a lot of people who actually like everyday Americans. They work, they save, but what is the most that what they could do? And then also that I have the other spectrum of the clientele who are well-to-do with their money. They have a ton of money, but what do they do with it? So, for example, right now, a lot of people now using they 401k or they IRAs, and they just leave it there. So someone is managing the IRA, someone is managing their 401k. But there is another way to do it, meaning that if you have some money into the IRA, you can actually using that IRA called a self-direct IRA. And as Gary, as you know, if you're using $100,000 and you put it into a self-directed IRA, you can purchase several pieces of properties by using that put down as a down payment, and all of the profit that you make actually going back without paying any tax. So in this country, I learned all the thing is that two things that make people cannot doing well in this country. One is the interest. So a majority of the people here that they are paying interest on their mortgage, they pay interest on their car, they pay interest on the loan, on the clothes that they wear, on the entertainment that they use the credit card. So at the end of the month, they paying very minimum, or they pay a little bit more than minimum. So the interest is actually one of the things that compounding, and then you pay the interest, and you couldn't get over it. The second part of it is taxes. How do we use the best way to save yourself tax? Because if you pay tax on everything that you earn, at the end you probably won't get anything back. So let's using this example. Let's say that you earn $100, so you pay $30 on the taxes, assuming that you are on the 30% tax bracket, and you have $70 back, right? You have $70. Now, if you fill your tank, in my case, my tank of gas is approximately about $65 to $70. So actually, you buy $70 gasoline worth of gasoline. You know how much that $70 paid in taxes? In my state, I pay $44 in taxes on the gas. Mm. So 44 plus $30 is how much? Is 70. 44 plus 30 is $64, right?
74, yeah.
$74. I'm sorry, $74. So you earn $100, you pay $74. How much you actually using your money?
Yeah.
So how do we be able to avoid the interest and the taxes is probably that make you be ahead of other people. So that is my story. And I think that if you don't learn anything, just learn how to save on your taxes and your interest. And that's part of the things that I always tell people, that if you learn two things, you probably be able to be ahead of most of the people out there.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you mentioned that. It's like playing defense, like in any sport or any game, you have offense and defense. So offense in our business is generating revenue. Defense is strategically keeping some of it
Right,
and not paying it out in taxes and stuff. So there are absolutely ways to do it. I know you're have a lot of experience with that. So if you could do me a favor, tell everybody a little bit about like I know you guys started up in the Northeast, up in
Massachusetts,
New England, Massachusetts, and then moved to Nevada. And I'm currently in California right now, and every dollar a person makes in California on average, 62 cents goes to pay taxes.
right?
So, yeah, so being strategic, but what I know your industry is not directly related to real estate. However, the two work very well together. But tell people a little bit about what you do in your profession, because I think a lot of people watching this, listen to this, are going to want to perhaps call you, email you, and maybe make use of your particular skills. So it'd be great if you could share a little bit more about that, the end of the business that you have. Yeah.
Yeah, my practice, Gary, as you know, that I am practicing save money, because there are several ways to make money. The true principle is, whether you are working for your money, you make a living by working, and you laboring to create money, or the other way around is that if you know how to use money correctly, you can actually make money out of the money that you save. So my practice is most of the advisor out there telling you that you got to save every penny that you earn. But for me, I think that since my background, as you know, that I'm coming from Vietnam, and when I came to this country, my priority thing is that how to make sure that I be able to take care of my families and doing okay. I don't want it to be wealthy or anything like that, but since I lived through the communist world for about a year and a half, I understand that there's two precious things in life. One is financial freedom, and the other one is actually you have freedom to do whatever you like to do. So for me, as a safe advisor, safe money advisor, what I do is that I wanted to have a comfortable life as well, because when you living in this life, you make sure that you take care of your family and you take care of yourself, and the rest you don't have to work when you retire, because when you if any one of us, when we go to Walmart, there is quite a few elderlies out there wave you when you're coming in. Those people are retiring, but why they have to be there? They probably don't want to be there, but they have to, because they didn't do the planning ahead of time when they were during their working years. So for me, my philosophy is this. My philosophy is that you live okay. I mean, you live your life the way that you wanted to, and you don't want it to save every single penny that you earn. But at the same time, if you know the principle of how money works, it's gonna make you ahead of other people. So going back to my philosophy is this: you live a comfortable life, and if you know the strategy how to be able to save money at the same time, you're gonna be okay. So what it is that how do you avoid paying taxes, or how to avoid, I mean, when I say avoid paying taxes, I'm not saying that that you do any illegal ways to avoid taxes. You pay your taxes, but you don't pay more than you're supposed to.
Right.
That is what I meant by that. For example, like someone paying they over withhold their taxes. If you are working and you over withhold your taxes, at the end of the year, by April 15th, when you filing your taxes, and you're gonna get back, say, 5,000, 10,000, or and some people that I see that even get $20,000 back because they over withholding their taxes during the year. So when they come to see me and I said, "Oh, I have a big a return, at the end of the year," which make me very happy. So two things about that. First of all, you give the loan to the government free interest.
Right.
Okay, you just get it back by the end of the year. The second part, if you use it 10,000 or 5,000 or whatever the case is, and you investing it, you probably be able to make money at the end of the year rather than just giving a zero loan to the government. And if the government doing well for you, that's fine. But in this country, I think that especially our government in the past, whatever year is, they are spending very reckless.
Yeah.
They buying. I mean, so I read things that buying things that we can afford. That's why we are in the hole right now in our time now. So with all of the debt that we have now, and by of another 20 years, the debt service itself wouldn't be able to hold up with with the revenues that we receive. So for that, I think that you get to take care of yourself. The government somehow they spend your money recklessly, and it shouldn't be that way. So if you know how to save the money by using a very few techniques to earn more money for you, that you're probably ahead of the time. And the other one, as I said, interest. How you control the interest is probably gonna doing good for your family. So at the end of the day, I don't want it to. At the end of the month, rather, I clear my credit cards and then make sure that the credit cards that we have is we using the point, and that's adding on to all the luxury that we want to use. But I don't want to give any interest paying to the bank. So if you learn two things, and of course that there is other technique that you can use, but that is the two principle that how you make the money work for you.
Yeah. Something interesting you mentioned about taxes is the tax code obviously is very voluminous. A lot of people, tax attorneys and tax accountants, have the actual tax code in their offices, and it takes up an entire wall, bookshelf. But the thing is, it's all written for you and I and all of us to use to minimize our tax burden. There's codes written for us to use, not to be ignored, but to be used. And when you have business, when you're in business, you have more tax code that you can make use of,
Sure.
So very important. Is there, now when it comes to, let's say like financing, let's say I go out and buy a duplex to rent. Most people would typically go out and get a traditional mortgage, FHA backed, 30-year mortgage, 30-year rate and term, and get a low payment because they financed it for 30 years. And that's how they invest. But is there something, I think I've seen you've talked with this before, where if you do that, or any mortgage you get, there's probably a way that you can minimize the actual expense of that mortgage over time, like you said, interest payments. And I know this is going to be an audio recording, so it's kind of hard to can't really show any graphics. But is there a strategy that you could share, like how what like the people listening, or something they can use in a practical way they can see where they can reduce expenses, like in this case, in the way of interest, for example?
Thank you so much, Gary. I think that is a very good question. Basically, that there's good debts and bad debts. Mm-hmm. Good debts is the debt that you be able to write it off on your taxes. Tax code now allow you to write off certain taxes. Bad debt is that you still pay interest, but you couldn't even get it back. So I mean, if 10 years ago, or even maybe a little bit more, maybe 20 years ago, all of the interest that you borrow was tax deductible. But I think they stopped that. The only few things that you can write it off is your mortgage. And basically that, the house that you invest, whatever that it is, that goes out tax deductible. But other than that, I mean, even if you're financing the car, right now you pay, some of the people I see that they pay even 10%. on the vehicle, but that you could not even write it off. So that is bad taxes. Credit card, that is bad taxes. I mean, bad interest.
Yeah.
You could not write it off. So in your case, for me as an advisor, I would say that if you have 30 years loan mortgage and get the longer the better, because those are tax deductible. All right. So assuming, I mean, I'm giving you this scenario. So if I buy a $500,000 home and my neighbor having the exact same house and they pay in cash for it. So me, I pay, I put a down payment as the less down payment as possible. So 10 years from now, what happened is that, his $500,000 in there, in the house that he living in, that it's stuck in there. He didn't do anything, with it. But the price of his house and my house, which is exactly the same location, same condition and everything else, if it's worth 600 or 700,000 5 years or 10 years later. So whether he has a mortgage or not, it's still the same, correct? But if I have $500,000, I can invest into something and make money, even though that I pay mortgage every single month. But my mortgage interest is tax deductible. For him, he stuck the money into the house. But assuming that there's another scenario, assuming that 5 years from now, 10 years from now, like we have the crash back in 2008. Now his house is only worth 300,000, and of course my house is worth $300,000. And if he needs some money, he is at the mercy of the bank, because the bank said that hey, I can give you some mortgage, but do you have the means to pay back? So basically, that he is at the mercy at the bank, with the bank. For me, if I have $500,000 that I invest, I don't have to worry, because I am having a power to negotiate with the bank. And a lot of people basically losing their shirt. They have to, and the bank have to take the house back. But for me, if I have $500,000 cash, I'm investing, I make money, even though that I pay mortgage and I deduct the mortgage. But he is in the worse shape than I am, because every money that he has is in the house, and the money is not moving. The velocity of it is not, it's not. He didn't practice the velocity of it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he's at the mercy of the bank, and the bank may have to take the house. Well, he owned the home. He doesn't have to worry about that. But if he needs money, and then he's stuck. Now we have to cut 200,000. But now I'd be able to negotiate with the bank and say that, hey, reduce my interest or get some of my principal down. That's what I actually advised to a lot of people back in 2006, 2007. Don't put everything in your house, because people have a tendency of, whatever that they have, they wanted to pay down on their mortgage. So that is one of the things, that the comparison that I just mentioned, I think that is a very good strategy. So in summary, I think that, paying it for your mortgage, getting the longest term as possible, and getting, of course, that fixed interest rate instead of fluctuated rate or variable rate. So get a fixed rate, and then whatever that you have, invest to make more money, because the mortgage is taxable.
Yeah, I agree. That's one thing I really always appreciated about real estate is it's almost expected that you're going to leverage to buy the property. You're going to go into debt. And so it's very common for people to borrow 80% of the value of the property to own the property. Whereas in other types of investments, it's not that common to borrow so much to buy other assets, like buy other companies or stocks or bonds or so forth. You can do it on margin, but it's just a real estate. There's a whole industry that's designed to help people acquire real estate on a more highly leveraged basis,
Right.
which means you can make your dollars go further,
Absolutely.
Gary Wilson here. I just wanted to let you guys know, remind you that we do have our very next 3-day event coming up April 5th, 6th, and 7th at the Anaheim Marriott, right outside the gates of world famous Disneyland, located at 700 West Convention Way, of course, in Anaheim, zip code 92082. Okay. You can go to myinvestmentservices.com, look for the information on the event. Also, you can contact us, support at myinvestmentservices.com, or call 1-800-931-2605. So this is for you. Whether you're a chiropractor, dentist, teacher, fireman, policeman, pilot, military, engineer, this is designed to bring you together to talk about investing the right way. So what this is not the no money down owner financing stuff. Okay, I'll show you how to invest if you don't have a lot of cash right now or no cash. Okay, we just do it differently. We don't put you at risk by doing hard money loans, borrowing against other people at 10, 12, 15% with lots of points that chew up all your equity and cash flow. We actually show you how to leverage what you've already got and borrow against yourself. You probably have more than you actually realize even you have, especially if you have your own practice or your own business, okay? And by the way, the cool thing about this is you're going to meet the people you need to meet to support you. I've trained over 20,000 investors and agents around the U.S. and Canada last several years. And at the event, there'll be a lot of agents there right here in your area in Southern California that I personally train to work with us, to work with you and me on investing. These are not regular realtors. They're certified. They work specifically with us, flipping homes and buying fourplexes and stuff like that. So come and connect with them, get the tools, you get the strategies, you get everything you need, okay, so that you can succeed. So this is designed specifically for you. It's not for everybody. That's why we narrow down the target audience, just for you and others just like you. So welcome aboard. Look forward to seeing you there. Reach out, contact us, grab yourself a spot. There's some specials going on. I've got an agent right now meeting with chiropractors at the local association dinners, for example. So come on aboard, come join the community, bring your children, let them go to Disneyland on Sunday. We're done a half a day on Sunday anyways. You can join them and enjoy the rest of the day there. So God bless you. We'll see you there. Bye-bye. Awesome subject. I appreciate you sharing that. If you could talk a little bit, like I know you've done business in Massachusetts. You're of course doing business now in Nevada, but talk a little bit about the time. Like we went through a major recession going back to as early as 2007. It lasted several years. Prior to that, it was a crazy times. I mean, people were getting loans at over 100% of value of the properties, which I think is too risky. But here we are now. The market's been going, it's been teetering and going up and down, but essentially going up dramatically the last few years. What are your thoughts on time when it comes to investing? The bottom of the market, top of the market, all that kind of stuff. People try to time things all the time. And I just found out, Tuan, for me personally, I just always try to make sure I'm in the game, because over time, like through dollar cost averaging, I'm either buying more shares of something or less shares of something, depending on the value at the time. And so if it's more expensive, you're buying fewer shares. If it's least expensive, you're buying more shares. But if you could talk about timing and how you think that really affects people in investing, or they should use that or can use that,
Yes. Well, that's a good question too, Gary. Basically, that people are trying to beat the game by see that when is the best time to purchase stocks, or what is the best time to buy things. And unfortunately, that majority of the people they figure it wrong. To me, I think that if anyone who knows when to invest and what stock to buy, I think that they're going to be billionaires. And the thing is that, as you mentioned, cost dollars average is probably that, maybe you got to saying that if you want to invest any in certain stock or in certain type of investment, the cost dollar averaging is probably one of the principles that I use, is that you make a commitment that you put certain amount of money regularly. So if the market is doing well, you're probably going to buy less share. But when the market doing less, you you're going to buy more shares with the same amount of money. So that at the end, I think that it is you turn out to be doing fine. But my practice is this. My practice is there is a certain way that you can put the monies into without any risk at all or very little risk. There is some technique out there, the insurance company that has been practicing hundreds of years called options. So basically, right now, if you purchase a certain type of investment, they guarantee you that you're not going to lose money. But at the same time, you're not going to get all of the money when the market is gaining. So there is a threshold out there that makes sure that when the market crash, you are not losing any money that you already gained. And that the reason that is that because they have options. They said that they can exercise the option of purchasing the investment or not. And majority, and to get it, I mean, it is a long way of explaining it, but I'm using this way to explain it to them. Most of the company, they have a technique called safe investment, meaning that when you invest the money, they're gonna buy bonds for you because when you purchase bonds, you don't lose any money, you just gain. But the problem with that is sometimes the bonds interest may not keep up with the inflation. So you have to choose the type of investment that certain type of bond that you be able to either get even with the inflation or get more than the inflation. The bond itself is going to pay more than the inflation. Yeah. So for that, I mean, and they use the spread, meaning that let's say that you buy bonds at 6% interest rate, and they're going to pay you back about 3%. And so when they have a 3% margin that they can play with, and the 3% margin that your money that you put into the investment, they're going to buy option. And if they purchase the option, and then if they see that option making you money, and they exercise it. But if the option is not, is losing, and then they don't exercise it. So you lose a very 1%, 1 or 2% of it. You have up to 3% to lose, but they guarantee you that you have 3% to gain anyway. All right. So the 3% margin that in between 6% and the money that they pay you, so there is about 3% of that. So they buy option. So the exercises are not depending on the type of the investment that they want to buy. So if the market and that type of stock that they bought option from is doing well, and then they exercise it. If not, and then they also said they don't, then you don't lose any money. So you still get 3%. Those required to have, I cannot make that explanations over because that's not. It is depending on a lot of different scenarios, a lot of situations. So that have to be basically we have to analyze in with the situation of the clients in order to make which type of investment that you're going to put it in. But in this, as a general, I don't think that I have enough time to explain which type of investment or which type of bonds or stock that we need to buy. It's very depending on the tolerance of risk and so forth. But there is some instrument out there that you cannot lose money. Yeah. You only can gain, but you can lose money.
Right. Yeah, very, very important subject, and I appreciate you sharing that. If we could, I want to touch on go to like the why. So far we've been able to share some really good stuff of who you are, what you're doing, and some strategies, how you're doing it. And I really appreciate your taking your time to do that. But I want to ask, if you don't mind, sometimes it's some people a little more personal than others, is the why, like the why behind you do what you do, because, a lot of people say, well, I want more money, but their money is a medium of exchange. So what is it you want to do with the money, that kind of thing. But you have a really deep passion for what you do. It comes out, shows loud and clear. And I appreciate you being that person. I appreciate your history. And what you went through to come to this country back in the 70s. I know we talked about that years ago, and it was very emotional because I was a child, and my church was sponsoring families from Vietnam. My father was in Vietnam, and I know that where you started out from, and where you are now, just an incredible story of living the American dream. But if you could share a little bit of the why, like why does Tuan do what Tuan does, and I think that would really draw people in and get them to see that, you know what, that if they can do it too. And I think your story will help them see more in themselves, maybe see a little bit of you in them, that they can also achieve the American dream. But would you say is your personal why behind all this?
Well, my personal why is, as I have mentioned to you, Gary, that we are, it's very sad. We live in the wealthiest country in the world. We probably, I mean, there's no other country like America. So, and as you know, as I shared with you prior, I'm coming from Vietnam, which when I brought up, I am probably 95 or 99% better than the majority of the people in Vietnam. But when the communists took over, the whole thing has changed. And that time, I value the freedom. I didn't even know what freedom was until I lost freedom. So when I came to this country, um, the country has treated me well. They give me the opportunity, and I look around the people. We took everything for granted. We took everything for granted. Majority of the people, they don't have a clue of how better we are comparing to the rest of the world. And right now, I'm serving the people who are less fortunate than us. I see that there is beggar in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is probably one of the most uh, incredible city comparing to any other city in the world. But there's a lot of homelessness. There's a lot of veterans who actually fight for our freedoms, and then they are suffering right now because of that. But because I see that, I in the last 4 or 5 years, I have a company, not a company, but an organization that I found called H2H, Helping Hand to Heroes.
Okay.
Because I think that some of the veterans, when they came to the service, they like us. They have the family, they have the hope and everything, but they have something offer the country. They defending our freedom. But whatever the situation was, when they came back, they wasn't treated well. So my whole actually in the past few years, I put a lot of time working in those organizations, helping the veterans to get back to the civilians. I mean, civilians get back to where they're supposed to be. And I see that majority of them has somehow they have some emotional problems. They may have some issues that they didn't have prior to come to service. So I devoted my time, make sure that um, they can live the life that they deserve to live. So I help them, and some of them are homeless, and I actually make sure that we can bring them back, to the life. So I had some courses that teach them to get the new what well, the new skill, and some of the things that they can do, and some of them willing to, and some of course that some people they could help themselves. So but I'm not giving it up. But the HS2H, like we have launching a few courses, financial literacies. We're trying to find home for them. We're trying to feed them. We're trying to uh, help them with housing and so forth, and those things that we'll be able to do. But there's a lot of work that ahead of us that we need to have in order to helping all of them. So that's part of the reason why I do what I do. I make sure that if I be able to help them in the beginning, especially for the young people who just get into their service, and if I can help those family and I can help them to understand that how money works, and maybe that is preventing some of the things that they didn't have to go through. Um, and that is why I see that we are as a country, we probably can do a better job in uh, educating our youngster, educating our people how we can make a better life for us by learning how money works. That's one of the things that, and I do everything in my power to make sure that some of the things that some of the people that I see around me be able to understand that.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty awesome, Tuan. I'm grateful that you do that. I know my family, my brother served, my father served, one of my grandfathers, at least two of my uncles. I was one of the lucky ones. My generation, we didn't have to serve; it wasn't required, and my action was talked out of it. But I appreciate what you're doing. You're giving back. That's your philanthropy, and it's a way for you to keep that cycle of abundance flowing. Because the better others do around us, the better we do, and vice versa. So and I appreciate you being on this podcast and sharing your wisdom and knowledge. I know you're fighting a cold, so I appreciate you overcoming that and everything you brought to the table here. I hope people paid attention. There's some real good strategies in there, some real good philosophies, and is there for people listening, Todd, is there a way for them to get a hold of you should they want to ask you about how you can help them keep more of what they got and be smarter when it comes to taxes and paying interest and all that? Basically, keeping what they've got. Is there a way for them to get a hold of you?
Oh, yes. They can contact our office at 702-456-5699, and that's directly to my office. And just ask for me or a schedule for time for me to at least get a chance to get back to them. The other way around is that if you can help them go into, I have several websites, but one of the websites that I wanted to give it to you is www.pnp advisorygroup.com. So that is one of the website that you can go in and probably look over it and see that there is certain thing that you wanted to learn more, and then schedule whether it is over the phone or in person. That if anything I can do to help, I'm more than happy to.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate that. And I know people who've used your services personally, and you're great in what you do, and you're also authentic and genuine and conscientious person. I also know that you're associated with ARIA, Asian Real Estate Investors of America, and they wouldn't just align themselves with any other person. They align themselves with you, and that speaks volumes for your character. But I'm glad to have you on here and share you and your information with everybody that I serve, and hopefully this helps you too. I'm going to go ahead and we'll have to wrap things up, or I will have the team send a recording of this to you, Tuan, so you can use this in your own efforts. Everybody else listening, make sure you wrote down what you can replay this too, and you can write down this contact information. And also remember, you can, if you haven't done so, you can sign up for, subscribe to this podcast. You can listen to it through iHeartTunes and iTunes, all different types of channels you can listen to. And also, if you want to be part of that community that we've been developing of investors or professionals in their fields, and again, there's no restrictions. It's just we ask you to be a business-minded person. Even if you're a teacher, you can join this community. And teachers are usually very good investors, by the way. But go to myinvestmentservices.com, and you can register there. For a small nominal fee. And every month we do live events. I do live events weekly. We do weekly webinars. We have monthly regional events and quarterly national events. But network with each other. Get to meet people like Tuan and help yourself make and keep more money. So I congratulate you all for being part of this. And I think, Tuan, I speak for everybody when I say thank you for sharing your time and your wisdom. And I hope you get better soon. And I look forward to seeing you the next time.
Thank you so much, Gary, and I appreciate it. I appreciated your offer, and Happy New Year to everyone. Hopefully that 2019 is a good year for everyone. Thank you so much.
I agree. Thank you, Tuan. I'll be in touch. I'll send you the recording, and I'll give you a phone call here in the next couple of days.
Thank you so much, Gary.
Take care, and God bless.
You have a good day. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Real Estate Investing for Professional Men and Women. Be sure to go to myinvestmentservices.com to join our community and start building wealth today.